Yo, 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 yo! Hello, Vipony! Hello, Vipony! Johnny Wilson here with another part of fanfic reading of Spike's New Brother. Alright, this is part 2 of Spike's New Brother, Chapter 7, A Legacy Forgotten, A Legacy Revealed. Okay. John stood straight up, the color draining from his face, a yellow line running down his back, as he turned around to see Rose, the maid, and none other than Big Sister herself, and a very shocked Princess Celestia. She and Rosie, the nickname that Celestia had given to her, were walking down the halls, and Celestia decided to check in on John and Luna, when Celestia noticed John kissing Luna. Celestia only looked at them. Her eyes widened, and her blush stretching from ear to ear, as she looked at them agape. Well, that is a new one. Rosie only had the same expression, but a smug smile.
New? Heck! If the atmosphere keeps up, I bet you 50 bits he'll ask her to marry him within 30 minutes.
Celestia looked at Rosie with a deadpan expression. Well, I am pushing for that. I don't think it will happen anytime soon. 100 bits says a month at least, she said playfully. Rosie only laughed out loud.
Yo on, princess. Oh, by the way, why are the eyes glowing?
Celestia smiled at her. They're dream sharing, Rosie, sharing their deepest memories. Do you want to see? The maid looked at the princess with a deadpan expression. The expression you would get is basically saying, "You gotta be kidding me, right?" Oh. Sorry, folks, lost my place. Oh, yeah.
Heck yeah, I do.
Celestia chuckled a little. Then hold on to me and focus, she said as her horn lit up and connected with the two. She saw all the good, but mostly the bad. She and Rosie then snapped out of it first and quickly got out of the room. Celestia and Rosie had tears in their eyes. They finally understood why John was so closed off about the marriage. Celestia looked horrified. By all that is Christia, I never thought that such a young one, being so young, would go through so much pain. I could understand why Christia herself summoned him here. She realized he would have a better life here, and I guess to help my son. Rosie wiped the tears from her eyes as best she could. Rosie only shook her head.
My goddess, war, that will hurt her heart more than anything. Luna, will you marry me?
She was cut off by those words, as Celestia and Rosie looked at each other and then shouted in unison, "What did he say?" That's when they decided to bust into the room and saw John on one knee, the wedding ring on his finger, and the wedding ring around Luna's horn. Then, like Luna, they froze. The sheer shock of the news was that strong. Until Celestia spoke, starstruck. John, did you say what I think you said? Rosie turned to Celestia with a coy smile and extended a hoop with a coy smile.
Ahem. I believe you owe me 100 bits, please, and thank you,
she said with a deviant smile.
And I told you so.
Celestia only shook her head in agreement. That you did, Rosie. That you did. John went to try and explain the situation. Just then, he was swept up in dark magical glow. The room went pitch black, and all of a sudden a white ball of light appeared where Luna was sitting. Just then, she exploded from the ball of light. As she did so, she busted out. Oh, it burst into many different pieces. It looked like they were in space. Luna only shouted, "Yes, yes, yes, yes! Of course I will! I love you!" She then snatched him up and kissed him deeply as she broke the embrace. Oh, sorry. As she broke the embrace, John had a goofy smile on his face. Well, that answers that. No sooner than he said that, he was swooped up by Celestia herself, once again in a tight hug. Celestia had the greatest smile. Yes, it does. Welcome to the family. John smiled. He then held up his finger and pointed at her. And, thanks. And yes, there will be children sometime, soon. Just need to get used to living in Crestria first. But trust me, after the wedding, he said, giving her a wink. Celestia and Luna heard this and blushed from ear to ear. Oh my. Darling, I need to slow down a bit, honey, she said with a squeal. Rosie looked at her with a dumbfounded look.
Gee, that squeal tells me different.
Everyone looked at each other and just busted out into laughter. After they had gotten it out of the system, John spoke up. Can we go check on Spike? I want to tell him the good news. Celestia and Luna nodded in agreement. Yes, that is a great idea. Maybe this will encourage Spike to also pop the question. John shrugged his shoulders, chuckling. Maybe, but what do you think, Luna, my darling? Luna blushed at that. She trotted up next to him and nuzzled his cheek with a great smile. Yes, let's. John looked at Rosie, and John gave her a serious look. Rosie, tell all those that had an appointment with Celestia today, and Luna as well, that they will have to wait until tomorrow and contact us only if it's truly important. But I know you get the job done, Rosie. Rosie looked at him like he was mad. Rosie just shook her head. Hey. You're not in charge. What made you think I have to listen to you? John gave a sly smile to Rosie. Rosie, it's only a matter of time, replied John. I'm going to marry Luna in a week. Yes, a week. This Saturday at 3 o'clock sharp. And I don't have much power now, but I'll still be in charge of you. So get to it. Rosie was speechless. She looked at him up and down and just basically smiled, caving in. You got it, boss. She then embraced him in a huge hug, which Luna did not like. Luna gave her a death glare. Rosie, if you would be so kind, get off my husband now and get on with your chores. Rosie looked at her fearfully but playfully. And I'm gone. The moment she said that, she bolted out of the room. Before she left, she stuck her head in the doorway with a coy smile. This is going to be juicy gossip to all the gods and maids in the castle. Pew! With that, she was gone, and Luna only snorted in frustration. She then shrugged it off. Oh well, thou were going to learn of it sooner or later. Celestia was beaming pure life from every nook and cranny of her body. She was smiling a joyous smile that any sister would wear. Ah, my little sister, you have grown up so much. Take good care of John. And you do the same, John, with Luna. John only smiled. You got it. Let's go to Twilight's. With that, John smiled and nodded in agreement. You got it. Let's go to Twilight's. With that said, Celestia's horn began to glow, and with a pop, they were gone. Back at Twilight and Spike. Oh, back at Twilight's, Spike was cheering up Twilight with success. You mean it? Okay, I believe you. I'm sorry, it's just, with all that's happened, you can't blame me for acting this way, Twilight said, giving him a sad yet loving smile. You know, the smile that you give someone that they're glad that everything's okay, but still concerned. Spike only chuckled at it. I don't, Twilight. I love you. Twilight, just not as family, I guess. I've always loved you. And you want to be my special sun pony? I just didn't realize it yet. It's still new to me. Twilight was basically swept off her hooves. She gave him a loving smile. Aw, Spike. It seems you've inherited your father's ability to woo the ladies. Just then, 3 voices shouted in unison, Actually, we've been saying that about him all along. Twilight recognized the three voices.
Ha ha! Very fun. Luna, is that? Did he finally?
Spike noticed what Twilight was so excited about. Spike noticed the wedding rings they were wearing. Spike only gave him a huge smile.
John, brother, you dog! You're engaged to Luna now, aren't you?
Celestia, Luna, and John had teleported right in the middle of Twilight and Spike's conversation. John and Luna turned to each other with blushes on their faces. John took Luna by the hoof, and they both said in unison, "Yes." Spike and Twilight looked at each other and smiled, and raced over to John and Luna, congratulating them over and over. Just then, they heard a mysterious voice they all knew too well.
Well, well, well,
said the mysterious voice.
Isn't this sweet? Little Luna is engaged. Ha! Finally took you over 1,000 years. Oh, ho, 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 ho.
Celestia knew who it was immediately, but she had a serious look on her face. Discord, come out here. Now, it's rude not to introduce yourself to our newest resident of Ponyville and soon-to-be family member. And in a poof of smoke, Discord appeared. Discord only chuckled.
Okay, I'm here, and I've watched the whole thing from beginning to this point.
John was freaking out.
He always wanted to meet Discord. Oh man! The crazy and powerful god of chaos and disharmony. Well, former, but still powerful. Man, it's an honor to meet you,
John said, bowing to Discord. Discord knew this was coming. He had been watching this human from the very beginning. But this was the first time someone had shown him this much respect. Discord scratched the back of his head, still a little embarrassed.
This is a first. Someone actually praising me. I like it.
He stretched out his lion paw. His claw, and shook John's head.
Discord. Nice to meet you two. Congratulations. You two were meant for each other. However, he said with a scowl, that's not why I'm here.
Celestia didn't like the look of Discord's face because he was directing it at Spike. Celestia had a serious face, one that said, "If you touch my son, I'll fight you here and now." Discord, don't you dare do anything foolish. If you do, you will have to answer to me. And me, Luna added, but Discord ignored them, and he walked his way up to Spike and grabbed him by the shoulder, pinning him to the wall of Twilight's library. Celestia shouted, "Discord, how dare you! Release my son!" Luna also replied in anger, "Release thy nephew, scoundrel!" John shook his fist. Let my brother go, you hybrid puke!" All three shouted in unison, but Discord looked back at Spike and looked him squarely in the eye. Discord shook his head.
I hear you're marrying the main six, including Fluttershy. The others I'm okay with, but Fluttershy's a no-no. Get me, hatchling?
At this point, Spike realized he was being threatened. Discord only looked at him.
You're not good enough for her, and I will make sure you never get near her again.
Celestia gasped. She was shocked at Discord's actions and words. Discord, she loves Spike. You have no right to say that. Shut up! Was shouted. Everyone and Pony looked at Spike, including Discord. But what he saw sent shivers down his spine. Spike's body once again was in a dark ore, with white markings covered his body, like blood vessels. But this time, it was much darker, and the streaks were more visible. His voice was in a dark, metallic-sounding voice. He then grabbed Discord by his shoulders and held him over his head. Spike only replied with a sinister snarl.
Listen here, you hybrid puke.
I am Spike Dragoon, son of Cinder Nightfire, queen of the Necromancers, wife of my father, Spy, the Arbiter. The Arbiter is the master of earth, wind, water, fire, light, and dark. Grandson of Malifaux, the greatest necromancer and the greatest dark arbiter. Grandson to the king of the dragons,
Theron, the arbiter, the former arbiter. And I am the new arbiter. I kill when I wish, how I wish. I am strong, strong, strong! My armor is greater and harder than any diamond. My claws, spears. My teeth are like swords, and my wings are a hurricane, he said, flapping his newly formed wings, which poofed out of nowhere. They basically materialized like microscopic materialization, forming, each one, each second forming out of... let me explain, folks. You ever saw the cartoon Dragonflies? Well, his wings just materialized out of nowhere. First, there was bone, then there was muscle, then finally the skin. Then Spike stretched out his wings and flapped them. A small hurricane enveloped him and Discord, but then died it down. If I wish, the shock of my tail, a thunderbolt! He finished, slamming his tail into the earth with a mighty boom. It truly sounded like thunder had struck. And my breath, death! Let me show you, God of Chaos. No one Pony knew what was going on. Spike was like he was in a demonic trance, and apparently he was tapping into ancient memories of those who had come before him. Spike was still holding onto Discord, who was now trying to struggle out of the young dragon's hold. He tried using his magic several times, but to no avail. Spike's own dragon magic was blocking it. Spike walked out of Twilight's treehouse, with everyone following him. Oh yeah, when Discord pinned him, he pinned him to the wall inside of the treehouse. Sorry, folks. Oh, everyone and Pony was following him, Twilight trying to reason with him. So was Celestia, Luna, and John, but he would have none of this. He was still in his trance. He threw Discord to the ground, and then opened his mouth and roared. When he did, he breathed a flame so hot, it was like a beam of pure energy. It was so strong, it literally pierced the heavens. When the flame reached the sky, it parted clouds and threatened to tear open the sky. He then aimed it to a nearby mountain and obliterated it in one shot. He then looked down at Discord and then pointed to Twilight. Twilight, Rarity, Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, Applejack, Trixie, and Fluttershy all belong to me. They are my mates. They belong to me, body, mind, and soul. I will love them to the end of our days, and I will bring death and destruction to anyone, God of Chaos, or any being that thinks they can take them from me. I will burn to ashes. Do you understand me, Discord? Well, where are your threats now? In the words of my Uncle Dram, if you're going to fight, it better be to your final day on this planet. Whew. Give me a second, folks. Whew. That voice. Sore throat from that voice. Discord didn't know what to say. He just lay there cowering before this mighty creature. He didn't know what he was looking at. To be true, he was just messing with the little guy. He wanted to know if he really loved Fluttershy. After all, Fluttershy was his first and best friend. Well, at this point, he was Fluttershy's only friend and his bestie. But what he just wanted to mess with Spike, you know, make sure Spike wasn't just messing with Fluttershy. But what he expected was more than he can handle. Then it hit him. I don't believe it! Dragon spleen effect! He said out loud. Celestia gasped. She thought in the last 3 days. She thought she could no longer be shocked. She realized she thought wrong. Celestia only looked, mouth agape. Dragons? Bleeding effect? Then that means he's a prince. Not just any prince, but the Arbiter. The one who forged the elements of harmony himself. I can't believe it. Cinder is his mother?
Spy? His father? Theron his grandfather? Malifaux as well? And Dram is his uncle? All this time, I had a feeling Spike looked familiar, but now this proves it. Luna shook her head in agreement. Whew. Yes, my dear sister, I cannot believe this either, but the evidence is overwhelming. Overwhelming. Spike is the Prince of Dragons, more so the long-lost son of the Dragoon family. Celestia nodded in agreement. Yes, and if you do the math right, I found his egg around the same time the Civil War ended. I cannot believe it. I didn't even begin to think that he was the missing Blech, sorry. Whew. I cannot believe it. I didn't even begin to think that this was his missing family. John was confused, as well was Twilight. Luna and Celestia noticed this and began explaining. You see, as you know, ponies many years ago didn't even know how to walk or talk. Didn't know how to talk or use magic. The species that ruled at that time were dragons. Luna continued. Normally, Luna replied, dragons at one point can only use one ability, thy be it fire, wind, earth, water, ice, lightning, or dark. However, one day, one thy dragon was able to breathe fire when he wasn't a fire dragon. Then water, wind, and ice bending, as well as bending the earth to his whim. Of course, thy mastered lightning, light, and dark. Only the Arbiter can master all those abilities at one time. Luna and Twilight shook their heads. Shook their heads in agreement. Twilight especially. She had gotten a quill and a piece of paper and was writing this all down. Celestia took over the conversation. For many years, each Arbiter has been in charge of protecting Equestria from any forces of evil. They were there when my people came into power, and we ruled side by side. Why, there was even a city of dragons that floated in the sky called Ellandis. Twilight raised her hoop. Celestia noticed this. Yes, Twilight? Twilight looked at her teacher, baffled.
This is very fascinating, but what does this have to do with Spike?
Yeah, asked John. Yeah, what has this got to do with my brother? Celestia got to the point. You see, the Arbiter can only be born once every few thousand years, or the Arbiter is chosen by the Dragon Council. Theron had two sons, one named Spy and one named Dram. Cinder Nightfire was the daughter of the Dark Arbiter. His name was Malifaux, the greatest villain in Equestrian history, though you will not find his name in any of the history books, though. His evil was so unspeakable, they were not recorded in the history books. Twilight was shocked. She only looked at her teacher, gasping.
My word! He must have been truly powerful.
Luna nodded. Yes, Twilight, he was. He was even with the strength of the council of all of ponies and dragons, we barely managed to defeat him. Theron was his best friend, and Thy was the Arbiter of Light. His sons Spy and Dram did not take their training seriously, so he never even thought of either of them being the next Arbiter. So he placed all thy hope and pride in a young dragon called Devitt. However, Spike's father saw Devitt for what he was, a truly despicable scoundrel, a secret disciple of Malifaux, though Malifaux never claimed him as a disciple, deceiving his way into the king's heart. However, when Spy tried to warn thy father, his father did not believe him. His father's pride had blinded him. Spy was insulted by his father's foolish pride, and left. At that time, he met Cinder, his soon-to-be wife. Each one knew about the other's father, but they did not care. They fell in love, and Thy married in secret. Celestia smiled, shaking her head in agreement, but then looked to one in concern. From what I heard, Cinder Spy gave their lives to stop the forces of the Dark Army, led by Dev Fitnolis. I heard during that battle they had lost their only son. He was just an egg. It was at the same time I found Spike. Luna nodded with a serious look on her face. Twilight's mouth agape open, so was John's. Then they heard 6 voices behind them. One was Verity. My word! I never knew! Twilight turned around as well as Celestia, John, and Luna. John only looked at the 6 with a deadpan expression. How long have you been standing there? Rainbow Dash got right into it. Rainbow Dash only looked at the group. Yup, sorry. Rainbow Dash got right to it.
From the point that we found out that you are now engaged to Luna, to Spike threatening Discord, and finding out that Spike is descended from a whole long line of awesomeness,
she said, hoop pumping the air.
Oh yeah,
she replied, finishing. Applejack decided to step in.
And about the part when he claimed that we belonged to him, and him alone, she said with a blush. I don't mind at all.
Fluttershy was next. She went up to Discord and gave him her famous stare. Fluttershy just shook her head in disappointment. Discord, don't you ever do that again. If you do, we are no longer friends. Discord was shocked. He cowered like a little puppy.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry,
he said with puppy dog eyes. Fluttershy smiled. Good, she said, because I'm going in the future. Oh, sorry. I am going to marry him, and I would like you to be there for the children. I mean, the ones we're going to have. And they need an uncle besides John. Discord smiled at this.
Sure. Why not?
Pinkie Pie just bounced up and down.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh! Spike's the dragon prince! And if I'm going to marry him, that means I will be the pony princess of the dragons!
While everyone was talking about Spike's newfound bloodline, 10,000 miles from Ponyville, in the land of dragons, in the kingdom of Atlantis, Theron, the king of dragons, shot his head straight up.
It cannot be. He's alive!
The king looked out of one of the windows of his castle and saw the flame of the arbiter. He knew it can only be his missing grandson.
Soldiers!
Cried the king. 2 soldiers came to his side. Theron only looked at them with a serious look.
Go to the location of that flame and report back to me immediately on what you find. But be sure not to be seen. I don't wish to start a war.
The 2 dragons took off in a hurry. As they did not want to disobey the king, Theron went back to his throne as he whispered to himself,
Please let it be him. Please give me this second chance to make up for my mistake.
To be continued. Alright, I'm sorry if I sound a little crappy at the end. Doing Spike's voice when he was in his demonic trance, that took a lot of breath out of me, and I've been gasping in between breaths, and I'm sorry. I'm gonna post it online. If you don't think it's good, tell me about it. I'll take it offline, and when I'm in a better state, I'll do it again, and I'll do it better, okay? Also, I want to address something. I've heard some people leave some nasty comments, and they try to get in touch with me, but the chapters I have posted every time I try to contact them, it says on YouTube, this video is no longer on YouTube, it's been taken down. Apparently someone took offense to that because he said a comment that was very, very rude, and it was like PG-18 and up, and I want to say this. If you have a problem with the stories, I don't mind. If you don't like it, don't post it. You know, you don't have to watch. You don't have to read the story. But if you're going to post negative comments, which I don't mind, that's your right, freedom of speech, make sure it's PG-13. You never know who's watching this. Now, I've said some cuss words, and to those who are watching and parents listening to this, I apologize. I am trying to keep it PG-13,
And I appreciate y'all watching. And I'm gonna get off, and I'm gonna could try to get chapter 8. That's when it gets really interesting. That's when Spike's grandparents come into play. That's right, Spike's grandparents are gonna come into play in this one. And good night, every pony. Good night, every brony.